Castlevania Netflix show came out.
Yeah, and I really liked it.
End of discussion.
No. So they're doing it sort of, I believe, kind of an OVA way, which in the 90s was very popular. What
does that mean, Ian?
So they put it out in kind of chunks. It's not really kind of a series. They do it in smaller amounts, and the way this was done was 4 episodes that basically total 90 minutes, and this is entirely a setup to the larger what will end up being the larger show. It seems to have been critically well received. It's based on Castlevania 3.
We're doing spoilers.
Yeah, we're doing spoilers. We have to. And honestly, it doesn't really matter because it like I said, it's a setup. So you're not going to be missing a whole lot.
Not a setup like they're going to steal your money. A setup to a story to come.
Yeah.
It's a setup.
It's based on Castlevania 3, which I think is very cool.
Very smart.
Because Castlevania 3 introduces a lot of interesting characters. And in terms of story and lore, it's one of the more interesting early ones, and it's one that I think people are familiar with. So it starts with, well, I want to get into something important first that I think is very important. The writing so far is very good, and there's a reason for that. Warren Ellis is writing this. Warren Ellis is, in my opinion, one of the best, I think in a lot of people's opinions, one of the best comic book writers of the modern age. Warren Ellis wrote my 2 favorite comics. He did Planetary, he did Next Wave, he's done runs on X-Men, he did Transmetropolitan.
Garth Ennis did.
Yeah.
I'm confusing him.
Yeah. Okay. He did runs on X-Men, he did Transmetropolitan, which is fucking fantastic. I mean, this is a guy who is known for doing extraordinarily thought-provoking comics that are just amazing.
Oh, he did Red.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's also known for doing fairly violent comics, and that shows through in Castlevania in spades.
This is not a kid's cartoon.
Not that I think anyone expected it to be.
It's not even an R-rated movie. There's some bad shit that on screen that I was like, not that it upset me. I was like, I think that you could have gotten away with not showing some of that stuff. Like
I was okay with it, but yeah,
there's some stuff that could have been suggested even and could have been maybe as more harrowing than seeing the amount of gore and violence in this, where I was like, it's almost too much of a tonal shift because there's a lot of comedy in this. There's a lot of smart comedic timing that goes on with some of what Trevor Belmont says, which is great work. I'll look up the actor who did it in a second.
I looked it up last night.
But there's even one cutaway joke. I won't give the cutaway joke away. In the last 10 minutes, that's hysterical.
Wait, what? No, you might as well give which one because I'm trying to remember it.
Cutaway to what are the monks called? There's a cutaway to him basically hiding the monks, and they're looking at the dead Colossus body.
Oh yeah. Okay,
that's a brilliant fucking joke.
Yeah,
but it's hard in my mind that a joke like that could exist also, where a half hour before you see a demon carrying away like a little baby. Like that's where it's like the tonal shifts are so extreme in this that it almost threw me off of it entirely. Not to say, oh, Pat, you're a pussy. No. I could handle it. I'm just saying where I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. And now you have this come up where you got to be careful when the way you're handling that sort of writing. When you have some like very powerful imagery and then the next second you're shooting one-liners at people, you know.
I kind of see where you're going with that. And I don't think it makes you, I'm
not a pussy.
I hate that term, but I don't think it makes you like a wuss or anything like that. I don't think it makes you a pussy. But I think if you legitimately look at a situation like that, and granted it's a cartoon, it's based on a video game, it's anime, you can't take it realistically. But in a situation like that, and I'm big on dark humor, especially now, you have to. I think you gotta crack jokes in situations like that, but I do think
it's a choice though. It's a choice to actually show it explicitly.
Okay, fair enough. But I do like that they showed. I loved that they brought in Saifa Belnades early. I love that Alucard comes in at the very. They tease him early, but I love that they bring in Alucard at the end.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different point. Like that stuff was done extremely well with those characters.
They bring these characters in fantastically. The animation for the most part is good. Some of it,
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought most of it was great. Some of it was a little weird. You can tell who the main characters are going to be, though, because, like,
sure,
especially, like, Saifa Belnades with, why can't I remember the fucking monks' names now? Because I watched it late last night and I felt like shit.
Yeah, you should. I watched, like, the speakers?
Speakers, yeah.
Okay.
But, like, when Saifa's standing in front of him, like, she's so well drawn, and, I mean, that's anime in general, but the rest of them, like, have, like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean...
And they pan across this one. I understand it's tough to traditionally animate
stuff. And like
stuff.
I said, that is anime in general, but still, it was... I felt like that was... I felt like that juxtaposition was extremely noticeable there. The action was fantastic.
The action was very well done. It makes sense. Geographically, the Colossus fight was very well done.
Yes.
And maybe we even got a teeny bit too long, but, like... There is enough action beats. My problem with the pacing was for the first quote unquote episode or 20 minutes is all set up.
You need that though.
You do, but I think you could have shortened it. I think there was a smarter way you could have condensed all that into like 10, 12 minutes instead of like 24. I think you could have done that.
But then you fall into, is this too video gamey?
No, for example, not to give too much away, but we
already said spoilers.
We said spoilers, but there was a lot of setup with Dracula, who's Vlad in here, and was it 1476 or so? And then he sets up with the whole, he talks to someone who's basically trying to be a medical doctor and giving the knowledge, and then you have that, then you have her burning at the stake, and then he gives the warning, I'm going to come back in a year. Cut to a year later. Everything's going around, and then not the Pope, the bishop comes out and talks about everything's fine, and then all hell breaks loose. It was just a lot to get to that point. Basically, what you care about most is that Dracula's pissed that they burn his wife, and he's going to fuck shit up. I think you could have condensed down. That's just my opinion. And for a 90-minute runtime, which this is basically a 90-minute movie, if this was a 90-minute movie, almost every movie you're going to introduce the hero. You're not going to wait a half hour to do that, to basically introduce the hero.
Okay. I guess I just looked at it knowing that there's going to be more, so that didn't bother me.
Like, this isn't, like, if this was a 10-episode run, I would have said, okay, if you want the first episode to be just set up, that's fine, but you only had 4 episodes here to play with.
Okay.
And to use 25% of your time just to that, to a character, Dracula, who doesn't really appear after the first episode, that's kind of, it's strange. I'm not used to that. Maybe this is the way it's done usually in the OVA genre.
Well, I'm not even saying it. I'm kind of wrong on the OVA. I guess it's just that, I guess at first it wasn't really, they didn't know that they were going to get renewed. And they did. They got immediately renewed for a second season.
So they only had money to do 90 minutes.
Yeah.
4 episodes versus something like a Voltron where they got 10.
Right.
Or whatever, 12. So they figured, okay, we can't do the whole story in an hour and a half for our vision of it.
So this is what we're going to try to do. And I think they did it well by ending it on Alucard without knowing what was going on. But then they find out, I think it was interesting how they worked it into, okay, shit, we're in Dracula's castle. So now they can jump into the Dracula's castle stuff.
Sure.
I also, and it's Warren Ellis, and I don't want to start a lot of arguments here, and I don't want to insult anyone. Very, very interested in the very anti-church
messaging.
Sure. The entire thing is anti-church.
Oh, sure.
Especially from that era, the whole anti-science, the whole the whole witch burning, the whole science is witchcraft and magic and that sort of thing, and it almost especially for the first 2 episodes, it plays Dracula as a sympathetic character.
Sure, and it's like I said, it's almost too much that every priest you see is also like an assassin with a weapon. I'm just like, All right, if they gotta go for it, they gotta go for it. But it's cartoonish. There's no subtlety at all to any of the priest characters, except for that one guy that shows up and comments. He's almost disagreeing in the beginning. Remember the one with the beard?
Yeah.
But you don't hear much from that guy after that, though. He's gone.
Sure.
From the picture. And there was a priest that helped that at the end with the holy water.
Yeah.
So, but that was like one priest. It would have been nice to see some sort of conflict between the different priests, where it wasn't just like, all right, we all carry knives and spears.
Yes, but you also have to remember, I think a lot of this is based on the era where
they carry knives and spears, priests.
No, but
they had soldiers that did that for them.
But yes, but that's what I'm getting at. I think I think they're trying to that given the story, given the writer, given the era, I think that is. I think the church was generally viewed as evil at that point in time.
Well, not if you're a Catholic. You couldn't do that. You couldn't view your Catholic Church as evil. You're looking at it how we view how people might have looked at it overall then.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Based upon stuff like the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes, exactly.
And things like that. I see that. Well, who was the cast? I mean, who was the voice of
because the voice of Dracula and the voice of Trevor were fantastic.
Actor Graham McTavish was Dracula on the Richard Armitage.
That's it. Yeah, and
he played Thorin in Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. He was fantastic.
Yep.
He was sort of like sardonic sense of humor, almost like Indiana Jones-esque, where it was like, messed up stuff happens, but when push came to shove, he was a badass.
Yeah.
Like the world weary badass, which I don't know if that's quite in the Castlevania 3 canon. If there is a Castlevania 3 canon that actually matters or not, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that even though you could watch this without having any knowledge of the video game, but yet Netflix chose to put the NES graphics as the thumbnail. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was almost like, okay, we know that there's going to be some people that play video games that are going to be drawn to this, or maybe that, oh, what is this? I'll click on it. I just thought that was kind of weird to see that. So we are going to get a season 2, which will probably be the middle hour and a half, I guess, of this saga. Or just finish it up in 4 episodes.
No, I would almost guess, and I hope that they do maybe 8 episodes for season 2. I have a feeling they were really hedging their bets.
You think so? Well, we don't have Grant show up yet. You think Grant's going to show up?
I have a feeling that they will probably have most of the characters from 3 show up. I mean, I feel like they have to. I also love some of the little see, that's the thing. They didn't beat you over the head with the fact that it was a game. But there were little things like the gears from the clock tower you could see.
Yeah, there was references.
There was references.
You didn't have to have any knowledge of it, though.
Right.
But we didn't see a large variety of demonic enemies. We didn't see any skeleton warriors yet.
No, there was no Medusa heads and stuff like that.
We got the werewolf looking thing.
Yep.
We got the Colossus. So we got some teases of stuff, but I guess we're gonna wait and see. And yeah, we'll see probably Grant show up, so you have all 4 of them.
But this is how you do it.
Sure.
This is how you do something based on a video game. You don't have to hit all these fucking beats
right away. Sure. You can flesh it out. So check it out. I thought it was very good, even though, like I said, I had some minor quibbles with it here or there. Kibbles. It was cool to have the different characters show up with their different abilities, and it felt like Highlander for a while at the end. Spoilers with the sword fight, but it was well done. The sword fight was well done, and it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the whip action was there too.
The whip action was good, and Alucard uses a sword, so.